The state is once again investigating potential wrongdoing by the Borough of Steelton.
This time it's about codes enforcement. It seems the chief of police and borough manager have been signing off on building permits, which they're not permitted to do. ABC 27 investigates. An office building is going up in Steelton. So is this tower on the Steel High football field. Construction projects that require approvals from a codes enforcement officer, which Steelton hasn't had from April until just this week. ABC 27 has obtained permits signed by John King, identified as code enforcement officer. It's the same John King who is the chief of police. Borough manager Sarah Galatly has also signed off on building projects, according to sources. And according to the state's website, neither King nor Galatly are certified to act as codes officers. The Pennsylvania Department of Labor and Industry is now investigating Steelton and would not comment. King refused to go on camera, but did say he and Galatly, quote, did oversee the codes office. Galatly was not in the office and didn't return phone calls seeking comment. Mayor Tom Acri wouldn't go on camera either, but did confirm that the pair did sign off on, quote, smaller projects that didn't require electric or plumbing work. We asked a mid-state police chief about King's apparent impersonating of a codes officer. He requested anonymity, but did say, quote, I think this is a huge liability there. We as police chiefs are not educated or qualified to make those types of decisions, end quote. It's the latest in a string of bureaucratic blunders in Steelton. In recent months, the state's investigated the borough for falsifying water quality records, overbilling customers, and failing to properly respond to right-to-know requests. And I stopped in the borough office this afternoon, asked to see recent permits and who signed off on them. The secretary in the codes office pointed me down the hall to the borough manager's office. The secretary in the borough manager's office pointed me back to the codes office, and so it goes in Steelton.
The hot Monday afternoon weather didn't stop protesters from voicing their concerns outside the Steelton Borough office building.
I'm born and raised here, and I see so much potential in this town.
They were calling for accountability and transparency.
The people here are weary and beaten down.
And inside the cool Borough Council chambers, things remained heated.
The mayor was making faces at me back there, which I think is unprofessional. And he's laughing. I don't think that's proper at a meeting.
But it didn't end there.
You called me a mean person. Why? What did I do? The last year.
Some grew tired of the back and forth.
This whole thing is an embarrassment. We want taxpayers to come in. We want homeowners. We want business owners to come in. But looking at how they're going to show it on the news, how can anything like that happen?
Everyone talked about issues that ABC 27 raised recently.
Steelton hasn't had,
including Dennis Owens' report on the borough manager and police chief signing off on permits during a time when there was no codes officer. That sparked an investigation from the Department of Labor and Industry.
We've provided them with all the necessary documentation, and we've have been cooperating fully with them.
Monday morning, we asked the borough about council meeting minutes not being transcribed in several months.
We had our water issue, and then after working 14-hour days, there wasn't time for me to do them. We've tried using other employees.
We spent the day going through legal documents and making phone calls to try to get answers for people who asked questions during the meeting. Last night, instead of more information, they got a lot of chaos.
You called me a mean person.
You're a mean person. I am not.
Why? What did I do? The last year.
You're a hateful person.
This is the way you talk to taxpayers?
That's why I talk to you.
What did I do to you?
The commotion at Monday's meeting didn't end there.
He's a public official.
And you voted for him, right?
Absolutely not. I vote for myself.
And I got my son sitting here as an example of what our leaders are supposed to be acting like.
Taxpayers were asking questions about issues we've raised, like the borough manager and police chief signing off on building permits without authorization.
With the permits not being signed correctly, do those projects continue on legally? Should they continue?
No one answered that question. People also asked about our coverage of missing meeting minutes.
I'll be honest with you, Nash. We have got behind the minutes. We don't have minutes.
That's a direct violation of the Sunshine Act.
But it is sort of surprising. I mean, I think this might be the first time I've heard of an agency, not consistently keeping their minutes.
The law says that could result in hefty fines.
part of the reason why we have a Sunshine Act and we have an open records law is so the citizenry can keep tabs, if you will, on government officials.
The manager says the borough will pay someone a fee to compile the missing minutes. That person will get $150 per session. With 2 meetings per month and 16 months worth of missing minutes, that's 4,800 taxpayer dollars. That doesn't include what it will cost to compile missing minutes for the authority.
I know that there have been various people who have volunteered, including myself, for free to type the minutes.
So why pay someone else? No one answered that question either.
Because it seems like at every meeting it's the same questions and we still don't have the answers.
Well, sources tell me that our investigations uncovering issues in the borough of Steelton contributed to the decision to put the police chief and the borough manager on paid leave. Issues like missing meeting minutes and potentially improper sign-offs on building projects in the borough of Steelton. So we've been going through public records to find out what it's going to cost you for these people to not go to work, and the numbers are staggering.
You're a hateful person. Wow.
We've shown you the Steelton chaos in past public meetings.
This is the way you talk to taxpayers?
But the recent problems are being handled behind closed doors. Police Chief John King and Borough Manager Sarah Golightly both on paid administrative leave.
Oh, mercy. I couldn't believe that when I heard that. You know, people, I don't understand what's the matter with them today. You know, they just do crazy things.
Jane Lease has lived in Steelton for the last 15 years. Her tax dollars are paying for King's and Golightly's leave. Here's why she's worried. Public records show in 2012, Police Chief John King made just over $91,000 a year. By 2014, he was making more than $111,000. That's a 21.5% jump. Now take a look at Borough Manager Sarah Golightly's 2012 salary, more than $39,000 a year. By 2014, she was right around $73,000. That's roughly an 85% jump.
And they used taxpayers' money. Well, that's unreal.
In the past, Golightly has said she deserves it.
After working 14-hour days.
But where were those 14-hour days being worked? Were taxpayers getting their $73,000 worth? We've gotten complaints the borough manager was never in her office.
She could give me a call back on my cell phone.
We tried to get a hold of Golightly on several occasions over the last few months.
Leaving a message for Sarah Golightly.
No luck. We even knocked on her door to get her side of the story Thursday.
No one's answering.
Today we picked up the phone again, this time to get answers from City Council President Jeff Wright.
The mailbox is full.
Other council members say they can't tell us what happens next. At least, not yet.
Why hide it, you know? Eventually it's going to come out.
Police Chief John King and Borough Manager Sarah Golightly were notified Wednesday morning by Borough Council that they were being placed on administrative leave. And it didn't take long for word to spread around town.
I'm shocked. I am shocked.
Not everyone was shocked.
I knew it was going to happen sooner or later, and hey, today it happened.
Borough Council President Jeffrey Wright told ABC 27 that Golightly and King were on administrative leave, but he would not say why or if they would be paid. He said he would not comment further on a personnel matter.
What is it with you people?
What kind of things are wait a minute, hey.
Enough of you.
If you weren't at Steelton's Borough Council meeting Tuesday night, chances are you heard it.
Did I give you the form? Did I give you the form? Did I give you the form when you were speaking?
Frustration surrounding the disciplinary leave of Steelton's Borough Manager, Sarah Golightly, and Police Chief John King.
I would like to make a motion that we change the administrative leave with pay for John King to redemption of annual leave pending further investigation.
The police chief will be using personal time off while he's on leave, like vacation days.
All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, carried, the same rights. Carried, no opposed. Motion carried.
The borough manager won't get paid at all, but people still have questions.
It's a personnel matter, and we talked about that when we opened this meeting.
It's a financial fraud matter, because you're stealing money from us.
They want to know who approved the pay raises for the borough manager and police chief we uncovered last week.
The borough needs additional time to complete is employment investigation.
Council President Jeffrey Wright read a statement. It wasn't on the agenda, but then council wouldn't let the public comment on anything that wasn't on the agenda.
The agenda we were provided wasn't very comprehensive, put it that way. And there are a lot of issues that are not getting addressed, and people are very concerned.
It makes me angry. That's why I had to breathe, and I just asked for peace. I just wanted to calm my spirit, because it's appalling to me.
But the people of Steelton weren't the only ones who were frustrated.
I got in local government because I wanted to do good for my community. But maybe none of us will want to serve ever again.
We are staying on the story in Steelton and the big shakeup in leadership. The borough manager out. The police chief is next, both receiving severance pay and benefits. Steelton Borough Council accepted their resignations last night. Investigators said they broke the law, and residents got fired up when a new borough manager was named without any notification. Amanda St. Hilaire is live with more. Amanda.
Alicia, we talked to a council member who says she's even uncomfortable with all of this. So we went through public records and found more information about your tax dollars. Not a happy crowd. We'll get to why in just a minute, but first, let's start with Sarah Golatly, the now former borough manager, out as of Monday night with 3 months' pay and more than a year of benefits.
As I will accept Sarah's resignation, but I don't accept the package.
Councilmember Danae House says the severance package surprised her, with the details sorted out in a council committee she's not on.
You know, these are taxpayers' dollars, and we need to also communicate with the community more and allow them to help us with decision making sometime, because it is their tax dollars that we're working with.
The reasoning behind the payout?
Because the attorneys told us you're going to spend more in fees than to give her 3 months and her COBRA.
We called the borough solicitor to see if that's true.
Great. My number is 717.
He didn't answer.
No.
Now to the unhappy crowd. It's the same thing that happened when Golatly got the borough manager job in 2012. No interviews, no job posting, instead a quick selection.
All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
This time Douglas Brown, who's had the job before.
Motion carries.
Doug was wonderful. He really was. I worked 3 months with him. But with that being said, the process was wrong.
Borough Council originally hired Brown February 2011 as Secretary Treasurer. In May, he became Borough Manager, and public records show by the end of December 2011, Brown was making $47,930.79. Now, 4.5 years later, he's hired back at a salary of $80,000 per year. Golatly was making $73,000. Council says it needs to offer competitive salaries. The taxpayers say their elected leaders need to listen to them. Councilmember House agrees, though she says that mentality hasn't always made her popular.
I've been ousted, I've been blacklisted, I'm not on many committees anymore, but I still stand for the community.
The community here has been vocal about wanting change. The new borough manager, Doug Brown, is actually a former borough manager, and he says he can make that change happen. He went from working on legislation with Steelton'S to managing Steelton. Doug Brown says his wife's connection to the borough allowed him to form his own.
Just loving the culture of the borough, the hard-working people, the attitude.
Brown left for a different job in 2012. His replacement, Sarah Golatly.
I went in Sarah's office with a valid question, and excuse my French because I'm about to cuss. And she told me to get the out of her office.
Issue after issue, including a state investigation, didn't go over well with taxpayers.
They don't give a lot of free passes to people who don't work hard and care about the community.
Now Golatly's out and Brown's back in.
This was where I saw a community that, needed somebody that could put the work in and that could turn things around, but also has a knowledge of the staff, knows the folks that are working at the borough.
But taxpayers were not thrilled about his salary.
Salary would be $80,000 a year.
I think if people saw the hours and the time and even the stress and everything that goes into doing the job, I think they would understand why $80,000 is probably a reasonable salary.
Brown says he gets why some were upset his job wasn't opened up to other applicants. But he does have a request.
give me 6 months. Let me come in, do my job. Let me put in the work. Let me make the changes that we need to see. And then, we can discuss whether I was the right choice or not.